The next speaker or speakers are from an operator that's become the poster boy of the telecoms mobile industry over the last couple of years. So we're delighted to have with us three executives from Reliance Jio. Stefan Rohn, CIO and advisor. Stefan's had a career in Deutsche Telekom, T-Mobile, and most recently with Reliance Jio. Kieran Thomas, who's President and Chief Strategy Officer of Reliance Industries, sits on the Jio board, and Anish Shah, President of IT. So welcome to Reliance Jio. Thank you very much indeed. So, don't they look fantastic? So, it's the Reliance Jio boy band. What's your first number going to be?
Say again?
I said, what's your first song going to be?
Oh, we sing the Jio song.
Okay. So, so three for the price of one. So, we're very lucky to have these gentlemen on stage. So, Stefan, I think we're going to start with you. So,
thanks a lot, Mark, and very warm welcome. Good morning to all of you. We are here to deliver the story of Jio to you. How did we do it? How did it happen? And for that, I brought my partners in crime, Kieran Thomas, Head of Product and Strategy of Jio, and Anish Shah, Head of IT and Technology. We've done it together, and we're doing this talk today on behalf of the big team back in Mumbai, who cannot be here with us today, but is supporting us and has actually done the whole work. We heard a lot about culture, so let's start with culture. Reliance Jio is a company of Reliance Industries Limited, the largest privately owned company in India, founded by Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani. And they have inherited a set of core beliefs and values, which we also fully share at Jio, which is masterminded and inspired by his son, Mukesh Ambani. And those values, I think, very important to share at the beginning because they are the foundation of all what we have done and achieved and will be achieving also in the future. Number one, betting on people. Making sure you're getting the best people, talented people from India and abroad, and make sure you mix and mingle them in a well-performing team. That is a very, very important core belief of what we have done. Secondly, on the technology side, it's not good enough to take the state-of-the-art technology or even N-1 technology because you think it's safe. No, the core belief is you have to go for the future technology. You have to push the boundaries and the frontiers of today's technology because when you're launching your services and your customers will be on a different technology level understanding than today, so we have to be in advance of that. The third belief is actually about thinking big, thinking fast, and turning those great ideas into inspiration for yourself and for your teams. I think that, for me, was one of the biggest learnings coming from a classical operator, which sometimes can be inspiring, sometimes cannot be inspiring, to be inspired and let yourself drive by these big ideas. And obviously, one of the big core beliefs is that India offers a lot of opportunity for India to grow. Now, I want to show you a video of all the achievements, so please play the video.
On the 28th of December 2015, Jio launched with the largest ever employee trial in the world.
It is my proud privilege to invite all our Reliance families to be the first to experience Jio's services starting tomorrow and in the coming weeks.
Jio was conceived to empower every Indian with a digital life. And on 5th of September 2016, Jio launched to India.
That starting coming Monday, the 5th of September 2016, Jio's data, voice, video, and the full bouquet of Jio's application and content will be available for everyone, absolutely free.
With multiple innovations such as 5-minute activations and the world's largest trial offer, Jio clocked the fastest 100 million in just 170 days.
Just 170 days later, Jio has crossed the 100 million customer mark. For 170 days, Jio has added, on average, nearly 7 customers on its network every single second of every single day.
Jio took the data usage of India from 20 crore GB of data per month to 120 crore GB of data per month. This is twice the amount of data consumed by all of China put together and more than all of US put together. India moved from being 155th in terms of data usage globally to #1 in less than a year of Jio's launch. India is rising. The best quality services are now available at the lowest price anywhere in the world. Jio passed on the benefit of 4G VoLTE technology to the users and made voice calling completely free in a market dominated by voice. But there was still one large problem to solve.
There are more than 50 crore feature phone users who have been left out of the digital revolution. They cannot avail any benefits of a smartphone, much less the benefits of a 4G LTE smartphone. This digital disempowerment and unfairness must end. Jio is committing to end it today. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce India ka intelligent smartphone presenting the Jio phone. Made in India by young Indians for all Indians.
Jio also made the Jio phone effectively free so that every single person using a feature phone could upgrade to a smartphone and enjoy the benefits that their fellow Jio smartphone users were enjoying. Education, farming and rural sectors became key focus for Jio. And we feel this is just the beginning. India is well on its way to global digital leadership. With Jio, life is digital and life is beautiful.
What a story. So, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So let me summarize the key highlights out of the video. 190 million customers is our status of today. And I have a surprise for you. Anish brought the picture from last week, the celebration. We have just crossed 200 million last week. That is our dashboard in our open offices, so we can see every second how the counter is ticking, and that's really great to see that. Our users use more than 10 gigabytes on average per month, high-speed internet. We have more than 700 minutes of voice per user per month. Our 4G coverage is 99% pop coverage. We also go to the rural areas, like the colleague from China Mobile said, we have an accountability to drive India into digital, not just the rich people in India, but all the people in India. That's why 99% 4G coverage is very important and better than any 2G coverage in the country. 80% of the customers which we invited on our network for free in the trial phase of our network, 80% of those customers turned into paying customers within less than 45 days. That's another world record, unseen before, turning from free to paid service. And last but not least, we have one of the best networks, lowest call drops, not any major outage since we are in launch since 1.5 years. And that obviously pays into making India a digital country. Our growth trajectory has been much talked about. Still, I have to show it to you. So we had the fastest 50 million subscriber growth, the fastest 100 million subscriber growth, and the trajectory is continuing. We just crossed 200 million last week, and our network and IT stack capacity is maybe filled maximum up to 50%. So there's lots of room to grow, lots of room to make India really digital. And how did we do this? I would like to hand over to Kiran to give you the story about how and what we have done. Kiran, over to you.
Thank you, Stefan. Good morning. So when we got started, we knew very clearly that since India was 155th in the world when it came to mobile broadband consumption, we knew that we were quite uniquely positioned to use that as our right to win in the Indian market. So obviously, we set about creating what we thought was the next generation telco architecture, everything from infrastructure to core network, access network, devices. And it's worth remembering that when we started, not a single device in India supported 4G. So we had to work ourselves along with our partners to ensure that an ecosystem of devices emerged in the country. And today, every phone that ships in India is a smartphone. And obviously, on top of that, the service innovation that you saw in the video. And this should be fairly familiar to all of you, but what is worth remembering is that just a few months and a few years ago, very few short years ago, we forget, none of this existed. Right? We didn't have towers, we didn't have the network, no devices, and obviously the services were a dream. But that was also an opportunity for us. What it meant is that we had an opportunity, while we were creating the world's largest 4G LTE network, to reinvent pretty much every single element that you see on this slide. So what we have ended up creating now, we believe, is a world-class technology stack, right from everything to do with infrastructure, the way it is managed, the way it is deployed, everything to the way the service is offered and the way our consumers interact with our services. It's 100% IP. So right from the devices, that's I think, a great advantage for us. We are the last mover. We didn't have to deal with a lot of legacy technologies, zero legacy, everything IP. And what this means is that our network architecture is infinitely scalable, and we had to engineer for that kind of scalability. We used to wonder early on, how big should we engineer our systems for, our architecture for? And the answer was, it should be infinitely scalable. There should be no upper limit to how far we can go. The technology is seamlessly upgradable to 5G and beyond. A lot of this is software-oriented, so our path to NFV is well-defined, and so the work is already started. And most importantly, we wanted this network to be a smart network. So a lot of data that is generated, extremely highly instrumented. We are able to put that into our big data lakes and then actually use that to continuously improve and optimize the technology here. But that was not all. We were not quite sure. We were building these highways, but as you know, in India, there are a lot of challenges with respect to language, with respect to literacy. We had to create the destinations that people could go to using this beautiful highway that we were creating. And right from day one, we invested early on into creating a slew of offerings that Indians could consume. And as you saw in the video, we made it available free of cost to all of India when we launched. And this spans everything from television, cinema, music, magazines, news, security, collaboration, newspapers, and cloud storage. All of this we thought would be quite relevant for Indian consumers because they needed to have a reason to use the services that we were bringing to the market. Now, this is just the beginning. This is a day one story. And what we are already working on are things like health, education, gaming, virtual reality, all of this highly relevant in a market like India. So what does this mean? It means that we have created the network. We have created the platforms. We have enabled digital experiences for our customers. The telco innovation has created for us the 200 million base that you've heard about. The device story is strong. The path to even Internet of Things, now that the 4G ecosystem in India is vibrant, is very, very good, looking good. The slew of digital services meant that people had a strong reason to come and consume our services, all of which translated into the large number of customers and the continuing growth of our offerings. But in all of this, what is most important for us is that we have developed some very unique capabilities internally. We have learned the art of creating next-generation architectures. We have established continuous deployment, continuous integration capabilities, and DevOps capabilities, because we are now a very strong 5,000+ strong software shop. And we have progressively invested, both locally as well as globally, in creating the talent which is necessary to own each element and to continuously improve each element of this technology stack. And what this means is that not only in the telco domain, but I think we are well positioned, we believe, to be able to leverage these technologies way beyond telco and to take it to a billion-plus strong market in India through a variety of new services that we can envisage going forward. And we believe that we are quite uniquely positioned for the first time, I believe, in the country's history, to make things in India, to prove it in India, and to take made and proven in India to the rest of the world. And we do this in a little bit, there's a secret sauce that goes here. Everybody spoke about culture. Everybody spoke about how to create next generation architecture. We are very strong believers in what is called the Conway's law, which means the organizational structures that you create tend to reflect the architectures which will come out of it. So we have a unique concept called platform that we use internally. It is not a technology term. It's a business capability which includes people, technology, and process all bundled together, a very unique organizational structure that we call platforms within Jio. And I will hand it over to my colleague Anish to talk a little bit more about what platforms mean for us at Jio.
Good morning, Nice. Thank you, Kiran. Thank you, Stefan. When we have 10 million customers, unique customers daily accessing our systems out of the 200 million customers we have acquired, when we have more than 1 million retailers and retail shops who are acquiring customers for us on a daily basis, when we have more than 40,000 field staff supporting and building our networks, and when we have more than 20,000 employees in 1,000 different Jio centers, which are nothing but our offices across India, who have to work in real time. And as Kiran mentioned, there was no other better way but to use a platform approach. Yesterday in the workshop, we had a lot of discussion on what platform means to everyone. And I think there was a common consensus at the end of interaction that it definitely needs a solid technology stack, but more importantly, as Kiran articulated, it is a plug-and-play business model which allows to do a real-time collaboration, integration, and generating value among producers and consumers, in which case producers could be either our stack, our back-end systems, and consumers either could be customers, merchants, field agents, or even our employee. More to say it, we also have a developer-facing platform which provides integrated development environment for our development teams to continuously develop all the systems in real-time basis. More importantly, this platform approach are actually on 3 core pillars, based on 3 core pillars. And let me take some time to explain what these 3 core pillars are. The first core pillar is the key design decisions. Even before, as Kiran mentioned, when we didn't have any tower, we didn't have any network, we didn't have any device, and we didn't have any customers, the first thing we said are the core decisions which were required on which we build our platform. Everything which we build is mobile first. Every interaction, whether it was for employee, for merchant, for customers, it was on mobile first architecture. Every backend system, whether it was a closed source or whether it was an open source, we had hidden it behind API. And we had abstracted most of these APIs. So going forward, we have ability to make changes as we move. We had target to start acquiring 1 million customers a day when we started on 5th of September on 2016. And this was possible because from day one, we had identified to make it scalable. Even closed source architecture, we had worked out using different architectural techniques like data sharding, like laning, helped us to scale most of the systems which otherwise are not scalable. And more importantly, we had ensured that we create a big data refinery. If data is the new oil, we wanted to create a big data refinery, and that was already plugged in as a part of the decision. The second core pillar, which was the next generation architecture. I think a lot of people have spoken about what the next generation architecture should be and could be. And for us, this was something which we had identified as a part of the start. We had selected closed source, open source. In fact, when we started, we had 95% of closed source products connecting all our systems. As we speak, we have more migrated to open source, and with help of our partners, we are rapidly moving into our own source. Microservices architecture and leveraging the cloud architecture was something which we had built it as a part of the next-gen architecture. Let me move to the last and the most important pillar, and I think a lot of people spoke about culture, but for us, very importantly, when we say culture, we are open at source. Let me explain what do you mean by open at source. In fact, each of our team, each of our platform organization is sitting in an open office, including our business leaders, our technology leaders, including our chairman. Everybody is in an open office, allowing each one to collaborate in real-time basis. In fact, there are no cabins, we only have meeting rooms. And I think we had always considered all the web scale and internet scale company as our role model, and we were embracing and learning from them. And as Kiran mentioned, we had tried to acquire a lot of digital native developers and a community of people who are called full stack developers. And platform organization, as I articulated, whether it was business team, whether it was development team, whether it was testing team or an operations team, all of us together became a platform team. Finally, what does this lead to? I think the right-hand side are the different technologies, and most of us are trying to probably use these emerging technologies to create new, different avenues of businesses in all the smart homes, smart cities, manufacturing, or interaction. And probably we believe that Jio is well poised to create the best of the solutions using these technologies and using our platform approach. Thank you very much, and let me hand over to Stefan to summarize our slides.
Thanks, Anish. So that's the story, how we built the next generation telco based upon culture, big ambitions, the right people, the right architecture, and the right way of doing things. How is it continuing? Our belief is the future is there to be invented by us, not to be kind of conquered, but to invent it by us. So stay tuned what will happen in India, building the digital platform and further leveraging it. And with that, I say thank you for your attention and hand it over to Mark.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Stefan, Kiran, and Anish. So, a fabulous story, a fabulous story. What is interesting is, I guess, that all the CSPs in the room are what you might call brownfield operators, and you're a greenfield operator. Has that made it that much easier for you to do this than the guys who have to convert legacy systems, people, processes?
So Mark...
very quickly, sorry, otherwise I'm in trouble because we're late.
No problem. So Mark, I think with over 1.5 years of operations, I don't think so we are a greenfield.
Okay.
We are already brownfield, but let me ask Kiran and Stefan to reply.
So as Anish mentioned, 95% of our architecture when we started was closed source. We are already 50% open source, rapid transformation. Every day we have to reinvent. Yeah. The opportunities are much larger. So we believe that we will have similar challenges, I believe, to the organizations who probably have started before us.
Thank you. Stefan, anything to add?
I think, and I want to be a little bit provocative to the audience, because I also hear that argument very often, greenfield is so easy, everybody can do it. First of all, that's not true, not everybody can do it. And secondly, I think it's a mindset issue. Very often, and I come from a very legacy environment like Deutsche Telekom, I had to unlearn almost everything, which I thought is a good idea to do when I joined our team in India. It's about the mindset. It is a lack of belief that you can do it. I think that kind of is the biggest inhibitor I see. And if we can let's say, unlock that a little bit by just unlearning and believing in yourself, and you can do it, like Nick was saying in the morning, I think that would be no issue for most of you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.